Well, it's been just about 2 weeks since I planted this Southern Perfection grass seed blend. This is Monday, so this is the 16th day since I began the project. And we've had some things happen. We had the remnants of Hurricane Sally, Tropical Storm Sally, come blazing right through central North Carolina not long after I'd started this project. And we got a lot of rain. Luckily, it wasn't a gully washer, but it was a constant, slow, steady rain for about a day and a half. And my yard did get covered with water. But surprisingly, this is looking pretty good here in the past few days. I didn't see anything for the first 8 days. And then I started seeing little green whiskers come up out of the yard. But now, let me squat down here and I'll show you what this looks like up close. The grass is very thin at this point, but we're talking just a week ago before I could even see any kind of evidence of grass growing. And it's actually about 3 inches tall. I was advised to wait a month to cut it, so I'm not going to cut it. There's no ryegrass in this blend, so what we're looking at is fescue, and I don't think I can see any of the Kentucky bluegrass. I was told it'd probably take 3 weeks before I saw any of that coming up. I don't know. Over here is an area that every year I have a lot of problems with this little section because I constantly walk from my front porch right along here out to my car. But when I come out here at night with a flashlight, I see a lot of grass that you cannot see in this video. There is a lot of grass, maybe a ½ inch, 1 inch tall, coming up through here. So this is my dense shade area. And even though I am losing leaves off this one tree, my oak tree and dogwoods are still in full foliage. Okay, we'll take a walk down to a different section of the test area and show you how that's looking. Okay, even though you see some shade, it's just that time of day where I'm getting some shade from the trees over there, but there's no trees right here directly above me. And as you can see, grass is looking really good. Now this looks like I have grass in some spots and no grass in the other. This is just an optical illusion, so to speak. At night when I come out here with my flashlight, I see equal amounts of grass. Like right now where you see a dark background, that is some peat moss. And where it looks like it's just bright, shiny sand, that's where the peat moss is kind of washed away. But at night, when I come out here, I can see that it's equal amount of grass, both in the dark and the light areas. It just doesn't show up on camera right now. I was having trouble getting grass to germinate down here where I'd put so much brand new topsoil in. And so just a few days ago, let's see, this is Monday, so it was last Wednesday I went and got some peat moss. I got three bags of peat moss and put it on top of the areas where I'd put the new topsoil, and holy smokes, within just a couple of days, this stuff really started coming up well. So even though this doesn't look as good as the part I showed you to begin with, I think a lot of it has to do with the new topsoil I put on there. I don't think it's quite as rich in nutrients as what I've spent years developing on the other parts of my yard. But it's still coming up. every area has germinated. You can see all this grass seed here sitting on top of my peat moss. That's from heavy rains we've had from Sally. So obviously a lot of my grass seed has washed down and collected where I had the hose acting as a sort of dam. I didn't plan that, it just looked like that's what happened. And here, this is where it goes from a low area up. You can see how much seed I did lose. Even though I've still got good germination everywhere, it probably would have been better if this seed had been left where I put it. Now, I did not prepare this area right here. This is coming from my test plot, which is basically my front yard. But I had some seed and later had some starter fertilizer left over in my spreader. And so as I went up towards my shed after I'd applied everything to my yard, I just took whatever was left in the spreader and kept it on and put it out. And even though I didn't prepare this soil, and it is in dense shade, I'm seeing a lot of germination here of new grass. So I don't know if that was the Southern Perfection I planted a couple of weeks ago, or if this is some perennial rye that somehow survived the big blight of the summer. I don't know. But I'm really happy with this. I'd planned to do this as a separate project, but at this point I think I'm just going to take a wait and see attitude, because it's looking so promising. And I might be able to just come out here and get this remediated without having to do too much sweating. What is this mess? You might be wondering. What in the heck is all this? This is a man-made disaster here. A couple of days ago, it was right after a big rain, had a delivery man come by. He totally ignored my signs to do not proceed beyond this point, and he ignored the sign I have on my front porch that said, all delivery drivers turn around in my driveway, do not proceed up the lane. Well, he ignored both those signs, and of all things, he decided to turn around and this part of my test plot, you know, the whole front yard is a test plot, but I've got it subdivided into different conditions, you know, dense shade, sunshine, hilly. This is my low-lying area that gets a lot of runoff from a pretty steep hill there. So this is the absolute worst place you could decide to come off a paved road during the rain and turn around in someone's yard, of all things. Hold on. This is a real mess. I got on the phone Friday. This is Monday. I got on the phone Friday with the company responsible for this delivery and explained to them what was going on here. It looks like it's about, the main damage is about 20 feet this way. You can see his tracks where he came off the pavement and drove into my yard. And then his tracks come back this way. But, you know, I'm looking, main plot that was destroyed was about 20 feet by 25. That's about 500 square feet. It does not include all this mess here, which I had not worked on yet. This was going to be my next project. If he had gone a little bit farther, this is his attempt to get out. He would have been down in this ditch. So, what does this mean for you guys if you're following, you know, my field testing of Southern Perfection? It means I may not be able to give you an accurate evaluation about how it performs in a low-lying area, because even though I talked to the claims specialist again today, I'm getting the impression that in spite of her saying, oh, she understands my need for urgency, I got a feeling my claim is probably going to just be put in the inbox along with everybody else's, and it could be weeks before this gets straightened out. And of course, at that point, I won't be comparing apples with apples because this is already 16 days old, and it may be another 16 days before I can restart this project. So at that point, it'll be a month's difference in the start of the germination. Sorry about that. I've requested a professional landscape service to come out because I just don't have the energy or the time in me to do this alone again. And I'm thinking maybe they can just fill in these compressed areas. I was so careful with this. I didn't want any heavy equipment on it. That's why I hauled all my dirt from way up there to down here instead of just dumping the dirt in this low spot. I didn't want to compress this soil. But that's life. I guess it might be beneficial in this video because this is the kind of mess that could happen to you. You know, you could have a storm, you could have a driver who wasn't malicious but just negligent and creates a disaster like this. It could happen to you. So, we'll keep an eye on that. May have to just eliminate the low-lying area plot from the evaluation. If this doesn't do good by next summer, then, you know, I can use this as an excuse. What a lot of people who are new to this business of lawn remediation may not understand, especially when we're talking fescue grasses, is that what you do in that narrow window between, say, mid-September to the latter part of October, you know, that 45 day sweet spot, what you do there with your grass seed is going to have a direct impact on the results next July. So keep that in mind too. Of course, I'm in central North Carolina now. I'm in the Piedmont. Your window of opportunity may be from early September to mid-October, or if you're up in Maine, you may not have 45 days. You know, your cool weather season may start in late August or something. You know, as long as you're not getting temperatures above 85 degrees, that's a signal to get out there and start working in your yard if you're going to plant cool season grasses. And heck, you guys might have snow by early October up there. Okay, well, enough rambling. YouTube gives me a bunch of grief when I go over 15 minutes. I got to get special permission to proceed because I'm not monetized, I guess. Thank you for watching.